They say Transylvania is full of ghosts. But I never believed in such things until the goat appeared. I inherited the farm from my grandfather, a hard man with a stranger reputation. He died when I was 15, leaving me this patch of pasture, the stone barn, and his dusty journals. Mostly, I raised goats for cheese and wool, tending them at dawn and dusk, 2 steps from the forest's edge. Everything was ordinary, until that October night. I was upstairs in my small bedroom, the window cracked to let in autumn's chill. Below, the barn's lantern winked off, but the pasture was bathed in moonlight. That's when I saw it. A lone black goat, its coat as dark as the void, standing just beyond the fence. I froze. Its eyes, amber, glowing faintly, met mine. It stared with a sentience no animal should possess. I blinked. It was gone. The next morning, I checked the pasture. No hoof prints, no fur, nothing. I asked my neighbor, Yuzhev, if he'd seen anything. He just shrugged. Just imagination, friend. These forests play tricks on your eyes. I nodded, but that night, the goat returned, on the opposite side of the field. It stood still, as if waiting for me to open the window. I didn't. I dared not. Over the next week, I spotted it in impossible places. Standing on the roof of my barn, perched in the middle of my vegetable patch, sometimes just beyond my sight, glimpsed through the kitchen doorway, always black, always alone. My cell phone caught nothing, no photo, no video, just static when I tried filming. Eventually, I confided in my wife, Elena. She tried to reassure me. Maybe it's a wild goat lost from someone else's herd, but her voice wavered when she spoke. Deep down, she knew it wasn't that. She admitted she saw it too, only out of the corner of her eye, always gone when she turned. We checked cameras, GPS collars, everything. Nothing. I began to dread nightfall. One evening, I remembered my grandfather's journals. I'd never read them. Too painful, too full of his anger and superstition. But desperate, I fetched the heavy leather volume from the attic. By candlelight, I flipped through entries written in shaky ink. Half-forgotten Romanian phrases, symbols I couldn't decipher, and one passage in Latin. At the top of the page, a crude drawing, a black goat, horns curled like twisted roots. Beneath it, in shaky cursive, my grandfather's words. By this covenant, we bind ourselves to the keeper, in blood, in wool, in shadow. The goat shall feed, the goat shall protect. I turned the page. Below, a ledger of dates, each one corresponding to a generation. My great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather. Each had written completed beside a strange symbol. At the bottom, my grandfather's name, last entry. Now it's my turn. I slammed the journal shut. That night, the goat came to my window again. I didn't flinch this time. I opened the sash, let the cold air whip over me. Its eyes burned brighter than embers. I stumbled back, dropping my candle. The goat vanished before I touched the ground. Embers of wax smoldered in a circle around me. No way they'd melted that fast. I barely slept. By dawn, I had decided I needed help. Eleanor found Father Mihai, an old shepherd turned priest, blind in one eye, who roamed these hills tending sheep and souls. He lived alone in a stone cottage far from the village. They say he's older than any living memory, that he once exorcised a spirit from a pack of wolves. I rode to his cottage with the journal, and only a half-truth. Something haunts my farm. We need a blessing. He didn't hesitate. He gathered a bundle of wool, a tuft from lambs I had sheared that morning, and a small clay jar with a cracked seal. He spoke in low Romanian as he packed red cloth, scissors, and a knife. That night, at the edge of my pasture, under a storm-ragged moon, Father Mihai performed the ritual. He began by weaving a loop of wool into a crude noose, chanting in ancient Romanian, "By blood and by fleece, we call on the ancient keeper. Depart this soil, return to the liminal." Lightning flashed. The wind rose, twisting the wheat stalks into writhing shapes. Then he held the jar aloft, still sealed. He sliced his palm with the knife. Blood welled and dripped into the open jar. Each drip hissed as it met the clay. The goat appeared, as if drawn by the promise of blood. We could only see its silhouette. The lightning lit its eyes like embers in a furnace. Father Mihai finished weaving the wool noose into a web around the jar's neck and whispered a final invocation. The goat's mouth opened into a silent scream. Its form blurred. We saw horns, a skeleton, wings patched together from shadows. The air crackled and the goat lunged forward. Lightning struck the jar and it cracked. The priest hurled it into the pasture. The talisman inside glowed gold for an instant, then shattered, spilling dark ichor that sizzled on the earth. The goat let out a bone-jarring shriek, its body twisting into smoke and ash. When the thunder ended, the goat was gone. We thought it had vanished forever, but the next morning I found a single black wool fiber on my windowsill, twisted like a warning. So I left the farm. Now, when the wind howls through the valley, I hear those same ancient whispers. I see the goat in the corner of my eye, watching from the shadows. It moves through time itself, bound to the pact of my blood, seeking to devour the next in line. And I know, deep down, that the only way to end this is to return, folding blood and wool one last time and hoping the ritual holds. Because once that goat is free, it doesn't stop with me. It comes for blood. It comes for souls. And it is very hungry.